Do you see the role policy playing a greater role, or do you think that readiness of the farmers and the communities and their capability to capability and capacity to adapt newer methods is more critical? So would the focus need to be more on impacting policy, or do you think grassroots capacity and support is more important?
So in any developing countries, especially in countries like India, for example, the government continues to be the largest investor in development sectors like agriculture, right? And therefore the government, where they spend, how they spend, which is essentially policies, is going to remain a very, very important aspect. In a country like India, I often feel that smaller farmer, their dependence on policy is much larger. The policies, say, for example, on subsidy, the policies on procurement, all of that, small farmer, their dependence is higher. And therefore, I see policy influence or taking the policy along as a very, very important scaling up mechanism of the effort, and therefore extremely. To the second portion of your question about the smallholder farmer, ultimately, what would be important is that inclusiveness in policy, right? Any policy for a large field like agriculture that affects, say, close to 48-49% of a country's population, one policy will not fit all. So XYZ agriculture policy that suits 3 or 4 states very well may not suit other states. Within the state, XYZ policy that can be a fantastic policy for farmers of a certain commodity and farmers of a certain sized farm can be a disastrous policy, perhaps, for a very smallholder farmer, a farmer of a different commodity, right? A policy that can be perfect, perhaps, for, let's say, quote unquote, men farmers, can perhaps be a totally, unfit for women farmers. So there are so many variations in there, right? And therefore, any policy making, any policy environment, while extremely important, the inclusiveness of the people for whom this policy is made is going to be very, very important, and the nimbleness in the policy is going to be very important because, as I said, it can be a very, very general policy, and it can have many, many different interpretations. So I see policy as something that plays an extremely crucial role in development sectors like agriculture.